Hey folks, so the importance of water intake and optimum hydration is known, yet probably not very well understood. And it's for that reason that it's often overlooked and not done as well as it possibly could be. So here's a short presentation for you to get a better understanding as to why the mechanisms in your body to get why we should be getting more water and the amounts. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks.
I was just saying, right? Let's start off with why is water so important? So the most important thing is to understand is the BMR, your basal metabolic rate. So, do you know what your BMR is?
Yes.
Okay, tell me what it is.
So it's the amount of calories that your body consumes at rest.
Perfect. So
in a day.
In a day, that's the key. So if we take a 24-hour period, you go to sleep from now until exactly the same time tomorrow, there is a certain amount of energy that your body is going to burn just to keep your heart beating and your organs functioning. Keep everything alive, there's going to be a certain amount of energy that we burn. And that is our basal metabolic rate. Okay, that's factor number one that we need to understand. Now, our basal metabolic rate is based on how much muscle tissue we have. It's our muscles and our organs, which are the lean tissue that sustain this. If you look down a microscope and you have a look at a fat cell, it is a blob. It's just simply a piece of fuel, right? It's fuel storage. If you consider a muscle cell, there's heaps of mitochondria, there's lots of things going on. It's like fireworks going off inside all the time. It's a very active tissue. It requires energy to exist, let alone to move. Okay, so our basal metabolic rate is just existing. It's not including the steps that we do during the day. It's not our exercise that we're adding on top. Now, do you know what your muscle is mostly made up of? This is a trick question. It gets
water.
Oh, okay, good. So, yes, most people might think that our lean mass, our organs and our muscles are mostly made up of protein, which is not entirely right. Number one is water. 75% of our muscles is water. The whole basis of our metabolism, of our muscles, is based on water. So if this is down, that means that our BMR is going to be down. So the most important thing, if you want to raise your metabolism, is to increase your water intake and get it to your optimum hydration levels. If you don't do that, then the simplest thing to drink a glass of water or get the optimum amount of water in is going to increase our metabolism. If we don't do that, imagine all the hard work we do in the gym, the extra effort that we do on choosing the right foods, on planning and meals and going without in certain cases. What is the point if we can't do this? The whole basis, the fundamentals, the foundations is based on hydration. Crucial. So that's number one. Now, aside from that, right, what we also got to consider is our digestive system, right? So we eat food, it goes through our mouth, we chew it, we break it down, it sits in our stomach for a while. A little bit happens in the stomach, not a lot. And then in the first part of the small intestine, we have all of this digestion going on. And then we absorb a lot of the nutrients. And then the second part of our digestive system is our large intestine, or we can call it our colon. Now, this is where we have a lot of vitamins actually being absorbed, I should say, into the body, and it's also where we reabsorb water. So we secrete water in the early parts of the digestive system to break down the food better and absorb it, and then absorb the food, and then with all the acid and the enzymes to break down the food in the early part of the digestive system. Then over here in the second stage, in the large intestine or the colon, is where we reabsorb. That's where we absorb vitamins, but where we also reabsorb the water, so we don't dehydrate. Okay. Now, if your water intake here is low, then what happens here is that your body is going to try and reabsorb more water to go back into your system. to keep you hydrated. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then whatever's left in here has less water than it does before, which means it gets harder, and which means it's harder to move, right?
Yeah.
And then if it's harder and it's harder to move because we have these muscles that move, that squeeze through the colon to move our stool through, right? If it's harder and it won't move through, it stays there for longer. And so if we have waste staying in our colon for longer, what is it going to do to that beautiful intricate lining network in our colon? We have these beautiful intricate network of cells. It irritates and inflames it, okay? Waste, shit, sitting in our digestive system for longer than it needs to be is only there extra time because we are reabsorbing more water because we are dehydrated. Inflammation, which means also whatever vitamins we're trying to absorb through this is not going to be absorbing, that is going to be down as well because we have this inflammation through here. And the longer that stays in here, the more we set off our gut in other ways. One, we have our gut bacteria, which is going to not like that there. And then also our immune system. Most of our immune system, or a huge part of our immune system, is based in the gut, in our colon. This is our primary interface with the outside world. We experience so much of the outside world through our guts. And so that is the immune system's job to make sure that nothing gets into our bloodstream and into anything bad into our bloodstream or body. And so if we have more waste accumulating in here, staying here for longer, that means that our immune system is going to be fired up as well. And that chronic low state of inflammation or immune system activation is then going to create issues throughout the whole body. If we have a low state inflammation, that is where we can have joint pain, that is where we have skin irritations, that is where we have a low immunity, where our body isn't able to fight off other infections. So this is all brought back to just this. And it's the simplest thing. It is the most simplest thing. When is the best time to drink water? The best time to drink water is when you will drink it. That's when it's the best time. So a couple of times in the morning, lunch, evening, sip it throughout the day is the most important thing. Optimum, we want to have a look at about a glass per 7 kilograms of body weight. So if you weigh 70 kilos, then as just easy maths, it means about 10 glasses of water, which is about 2.5 liters a day. And that's why it's important to drink water.